You're listening to The Common Constitutionalist. Let the truth be known.
Well, good morning, all. This is Brent Smith, and I'm the Common Constitutionalist. And rather than do an article for this morning, I decided I've been everybody that's a conservative has been talking, thinking, praying for Rush Limbaugh this week after hearing the news, him getting the Medal of Freedom and all the hubbub over that, and just the jeers and the left is just, some on the left are just the most vile, awful people I've ever seen, heard of, whatever. So you don't like the guy, all right? Rush Limbaugh has been a threat to the left since the day he took to the microphone back in the 80s. I understand that. I get that you people hate him. But it's one thing to hate somebody, but it's another thing to wish them ill, to wish them to be dead. Some of the comments I wrote about this, I think it's the WorldNet Daily article I wrote for this weekend. It's posted at WorldNet Daily now, I think. That some of the comments that were made about, toward Rush is just unbelievable. And they're not just saved for anonymous people. People like, the meathead Rob Reiner from All in the Family, and now he's a famous producer and director and all that other crap. He's just a vile human being. These people are just flat out evil. And who was it that said? Was it Hillary or something, or some? I can't remember who said it. That hell has a special place for people who don't vote for Hillary or something. Well, hell has a special place for you people who have such vile death wishes toward Rush Limbaugh. That's just completely unnecessary. But so I just decided I would kind of give you, some of my thoughts. I've been thinking about this all week, just kind of privately, about what a tragic loss this is going to be eventually, unless some sort of miracle occurs. I've done some research on cancers and lung cancers, and if you're a regular reader of the Common Constitutionalist, you'll know that every day I post some sort of science and technology new happening or something, and a lot of it has to do with medicine, and a lot of it has to do with cancer treatments. And it's absolutely unbelievable what they're freaking doing with cancer treatments. But lung cancer is one of those things where it is, I don't know if this is even a word, it's highly metastasizable. I don't think that's even a word. It rapidly metastasizes. And if, as Rush would say, for those of you in Rio Linda, those people who don't understand what that term means, basically it spreads to other areas of the body or throughout the entire body. So it's not like you can get a handle on the disease. It's not like a single tumor that you can go in and remove and then clean out the area around it and then be done with it. And then you're basically, I guess for want of a better term, cured, but really I suppose it's called kind of like permanent remission or something like that. But the problem is that with a disease like lung cancer that metastasizes, and it does so rapidly, that from what I understand, with all the advances in cancer treatments and everything, advanced 4th stage lung cancer, and there is no 5th stage lung cancer. So with advanced lung cancer, the likelihood that it's already metastasized is pretty great. And so therefore the 5-year survival rate is still less than 10%. Whereas there are some other cancers that have gone from, I think it's like, childhood leukemia or something like that. Just 25, 30 years ago, the survival rate, 5-year survival rate, or any survival rate for childhood leukemia was like less than 5 or 10%. and now it's like, 85% cure rate or something. It's just incredible what they've done. The problem is that lung cancer just isn't the same way. I don't know whether they've maybe not, there haven't been enough specialists that have really looked into this, that there have been other forms of cancer that they've concentrated on more. I really don't know. But at any rate, that's that. So Rush always says, and rightly so, and correctly so, that everyone remembers, and it's a bit pompous to say it, and again, he's got this on-air pompous personality. And yeah, I don't know whether it's similar to Trump's stage personality, or whether Trump is actually like this. From what I understand, to his close friends and whatnot, Trump is an incredibly generous, nice man. But he comes off as this, well, I'm just going to say it, a pompous a-hole sometimes in public. And he really grates on people. And I think that's another reason why the left just hates him. And they hate him with every fiber of their being. It's unbelievable. But Rush has this on-air persona, talent on loan from God. I mean, that just sounds, the first time I heard that, I thought, wow, what an arrogant son of a gun this guy is. But it's just his radio television persona, for want of a better term. And he isn't like that in real life. Evidently, he's a very kind, a very generous, really, really good guy. But he always says that everyone always remembers the first time they ever heard Rush Limbaugh. That's what he says. And it is absolutely correct. And to this day, I still remember the first time I heard Rush Limbaugh. And I don't know where I was coming from. All I know is that way back in the yesteryears, and I don't know what year it was, but it was bloody early on in Rush's career, I think. I was picked up at the airport by my father, and my guess is the only time that would have happened is when I was maybe coming home from basic training or something in the Navy, something, I don't know whether it was a Navy school that I went to, something, but I think it had to do with me coming home temporarily from a short leave or something from the Navy. And I think that must have been it. All I remember is sitting in the passenger seat, and it was spring or summer or something like that, because the windows were open, and we were driving up the highway in Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, going back to their house when they lived in Pennsylvania still. And there was this guy that my father was listening to, and holy mother, I had never heard anything like this. I had always been conservative, but up until the point where Rush Limbaugh hit the airwaves, conservatism wasn't really consciously thought of, to be honest with you. Certainly not like it is today. I mean, we don't wear it on our sleeves necessarily, but we believe what we believe, and so on and so forth. But it wasn't like it was then. I had conservative values, and my parents were conservative, and for the most part, my family was conservative, save for one or two. You know who you are. You know who you are, but I love you to death anyway. Anywho, I could not believe what I was hearing, from this dude on the radio. And I don't know how my father found him. I don't know whether it was word of mouth, or whether he just happened upon, this AM radio station playing oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. And he always says that people don't follow Rush. The reason why they listen to Rush is because basically Rush is echoing the voiceless, like us. Rush is just saying what we are thinking. we're not mind-numb robots, and he's not leading us around by reins, like a horse. He has always put to words what we are thinking, and that was astonishing to me. And that's when I really started to have my, I guess, political eyes open, for want of a better term. And the same goes with a gazillion other people in this country. And it just was, I just literally, I remember laughing in the car, and my dad and I were discussing this guy. Where the crap did he come from? Who is this Rush Limbaugh guy? And he just so impressed me that I just couldn't believe it. And then I start thinking back of where we would be, It's a Wonderful Life. Well, George, you got your wish, you don't exist anymore. Where would we be if Limbaugh never existed? If he never made it on the national stage? Where in the hell would the conservative movement be? Oh my crap. I can't believe we'd be sunk. We'd be toast. And I don't know whether it's selfish of me to think in those terms of the conservative movement, that he can't go away. He's too important to America to go away. That maybe that's too impersonal to think that. It's a tragedy that anyone is stricken with cancer. And I don't care whether you're a loony leftist or a dyed-in-the-wool constitutional originalist like we are. It doesn't matter to me. You don't wish that kind of disease or any kind of a disease that befalls somebody. It ain't right. It's not right. But again, going back, I was absolutely dumbfounded. And to me, or for me, it was like so many millions of other people. I don't know whether it changed my trajectory, but it opened my political eyes, I guess. Yes, I like I said, I've always had a conservative leaning, but I never really thought of it in those terms because no one ever voiced my opinion. I just kind of said what I said and thought what I thought and believed what I believed, and that was that. But, without Rush's voice, where in the hell would we be? There wouldn't be. I'm not. Everyone knows, at least if you've read my stuff or heard me or watched me or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of Sean Hannity. I don't know. He's early on. I really liked him on like Hannity and Combs and things like that. I thought he was great. I don't know. It's just one of those. He's an absolute conservative, and I think he's been wonderful. But I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't know that he would exist. I'm not sure if Fox News would exist without Rush Limbaugh. Could you imagine a world that is completely and utterly unbalanced at this point? Now, I'm not sure. Again, it's one of those things that you gotta go back, and it's a parallel reality, a separate but a reality where you have to go back and you say, okay, you take Rush Limbaugh out of the equation. You've got CNN, you've got MSNBC, and these folks that kind of came into being, CNN first. And then would they have gone so virulently left if it weren't for Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Fox News and Beck and Levin and all these other, conservative icons? Would that have happened? I don't know. Would they be forced left? Because these people, from a knee-jerk reaction, you can see. I mean, look at Joe Scarborough. I mean, he was a Republican congressman, I think, from Florida or something like that. He wasn't a lefty a-hole. He was a Republican congressman, and I recall, if I'm not mistaken, that I kind of liked the guy back in the day when he was a Republican congressman. I think that he might have been kind of a little bit conservative, or at least leaning that way. But look at him now. And I wonder if that's one of these knee-jerk reactions. Of course, he was just a survivor. He went to MSNBC and then just continued to get, as he got hammered into leftist ideology, he just continued to be a loonier leftist, and now look at him. Chris Matthews, God, that guy is off the chain leftist. But I remember, as a matter of fact, just the other day, somebody brought up the fact that they can't believe that early in the day in Rush Limbaugh's radio career, must have been the early 90s or something like this, Chris Matthews, of all people, stood in, did a guest host for a few times on the Rush Limbaugh show. Could you freaking imagine that? And you might as well have Nancy Pelosi fill in for Rush for a couple of days, or AOC. I mean, it just is unbelievable. But at any rate, I just look back and think, where in the hell would the conservative movement, would we even have a conservative movement, or would we have been overwhelmed, awash in liberalism by this point, and the country looking like the Soviet Union? Or is that backlash, or like a knee-jerk opposite equal reaction to Rush Limbaugh? I don't know. It's just, it boggles the mind to think something like that. It's like time travel and parallel universes and parallel timelines and stuff. It can drive you nuts thinking about that kind of crap. But then you start thinking about all the little isms that Rush has come up with over the years. Feminazis. Holy crap, did that drive the left nuts? And there's whole lists of them. There's somewhere online, Wikipedia or something like that, has these whole lists of Barbara Walters, he called Baba Wawa, the Bank of America, when they started allowing illegal aliens to have bank accounts. He coined it Bank of Amigo. Battered liberal syndrome. They're just unbelievable. The undeniable truths of life. That kind of stuff. And when transgenderism started, I don't know, whatever. When we first started hearing it, it was female to male transsexuals, and he called the procedure an addictomy. Al Gore. Everybody, the name Al Gore, the vice president, and loony leftist global warming douche, he coined the name Al Gore, as in one name, just Al Gore, run it all together. It's not Al Gore. I remember back, I don't know, it was a decade or two ago, where he came up with Ali Limbali. He was a Rush Limbaugh from northern Afghanistan or something like that. And there's just reams and reams of these things online, where you just go back and I found one, the John Edwards, when he was running for I think he was a senator and a vice presidential nominee or something like that, and his hair was always fabulous. It was like Jimmy Johnson type of thing, and he called him the Breck Girl, the Breck Girl, because of his hair. Louis Farrakhan, that whacked out person of color Islamist. Yeah, there you go. Wow, what a racist, anti-Semitic jerkwad that guy is. He called him Calypso Louis. I mean, it's just they're endless. When the Clinton Library opened, he called it the Clinton Library and Massage Parlor. I think it was something like that. It's just they go on, and it's just, if you want to laugh, a nostalgic laugh, go and look up online Rushisms, or Rush's famous phrases or something like that. But I don't want to get too long-winded on this. But at any rate, I still, like I said, I've thought about this a number of times this week, of where I was when I got turned on to Rush, and how flabbergasted I was that somebody could actually be saying what I was thinking, and I wasn't even aware I was thinking it. It was just, holy crap, listen to this dude. He's freaking unbelievable, and he's got balls of brass, huge ones, to being saying what he's saying, to picking on the left the way he does, to be making light of them, to make fun of them, calling feminists feminazis. Holy crap, did that land him in hot water. And he didn't like Trump. He didn't give a flying crap. It didn't matter to him one way or the other. So Rush, I know you don't listen to me. I'm a pissant nobody. I get it. But I've been a loyal follower of yours. And it's not because you're Rush Limbaugh. It's because you're a conservative icon, and we need you. I pray for you morning and night, as a human, but also as a conservative. We need you, man. We need you now more than ever. And I don't, frankly, like Glenn Beck said when he did a retrospective on him, and he knows him personally and was affected by him personally, unlike me. I don't know what we'll do. You can't replace the guy. I don't know. There's going to be a huge vacuum in constitutional conservatism if he goes. And that's selfish as crap of me. I keep thinking this is selfish, but I can't help but think about it because of the health and safety and viability of the United States of America. And he is a big part of that, viability. And, I guess that's about all I got to say. But I was absolutely floored when I heard this news. It came out of left field. It came out of no frickin' where. And I was angry when I first heard it. I wasn't upset. I was just angry at how dare life, do this type of thing to such a guy. But what are you going to do? I mean, it's just one of those things that happens, and you deal with it, and you hope for the best, and you pray for the best. So I hope that everybody's doing the same as I. I guess that's all I got. My name is Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and I guess that's it. See you.